Now the assault pioneers of Group Granite were running low on ammunition and desperately short of water. Further supplies were flown in, and the paratroopers gratefully quenched their thirst. But Private Schmidt had filled his water bottle with schnapps and was now drunk and sitting astride a gun of Cupola 120 as it revolved once more after the Belgian defenders had repaired it around 0800. The Germans then disabled the cupola by placing explosive charges down the muzzle of the guns. The only gun emplacement on the roof of Fort Eben Emael that was still operational was Cupola Sud. From 10:30 onwards, it fired on targets to the south of Eben Emael as directed by the observation post Block 01. German attempts to silence the position failed, despite exploding a 110-pound charge on its armored dome. During the day, Cupola Sud fired on the town of Eisden in Holland, where German troops were amassing. It also destroyed the bridge at Lanai across the Meuse River. Eben Emael had been specifically designed for these tasks, but it was too late to stem the German advance. German engineers were now building several pontoon bridges across the River Meuse to replace those that had been destroyed. Even so, the German invasion plans had been delayed by at least 24 hours. Sturmabteilung Koch was still on its own. As the day progressed, the Belgian defenders of Fort Eben Emael mounted a few limited counterattacks, but they were half-hearted and ineffective. Stuka dive bombers were ordered to attack those gun emplacements that had not been captured. Both Block 1 and Cupola Sud came under repeated attack, as did the fortress reinforcements from Vank, who were so harried and delayed that when they arrived, they were unfit for combat. Other fortresses around Liège began directing artillery fire to the roof of Fort Eben Emael to dislodge the German paratroopers. Over 1,200 shells landed on the fort and wounded several Germans who took shelter in the captured gun emplacements. After dark, the German paratroopers disabled more of the guns with their remaining charges. Fearing further Belgian counterattacks during the night, some of the paratroopers warily descended the staircase into Maastricht 1. There they found the bolted and barred armored doors. They retraced their steps back to the surface and returned with a 110-pound hollow charge which they attached to the steel beam barrier. The resulting explosion completely demolished the armored doors, killed 4 Belgian soldiers, and wounded several others hiding behind the barrier. The blast also destroyed the staircase and ammunition elevators, making Belgian counterattacks from Maastricht 1 impossible. Morale amongst the Belgian soldiers in the fort plummeted. There wasn't much opportunity for further counterattacks against the German invaders. Conditions inside the fortress worsened soon after dawn. Several rounds from German light anti-tank guns were fired through the main gate and ruptured some drums of quicklime. Clouds of chlorine formed, and many Belgians believed the fortress was being attacked by poisonous gas. On the morning of May 11th, the Germans tried to cross the Albert Canal near Caen several times, but were forced back by the fire from Canal Nord. Here the flash of its 60mm cannon can be seen as men of the 51st Pioneers try to cross the canal to relieve Group Granite at Fort Eben Emael. In time, Fort Eben Emael was surrounded by German troops, but several Belgian positions continued firing. After consulting his superiors, Major Jacquard decided to surrender. At 11:30, an officer with a white flag appeared at the main entrance at Block 1. Fort Eben Emael had fallen into German hands. The Belgian garrison suffered 21 dead and many injured. Group Granite, only 6 killed and 15 wounded. Hitler's plans for the capture of Fort Eben Emael had succeeded beyond expectation. The German offensive rolled over the Albert Canal and into the heart of Belgium. At the same time, the panzer divisions were unleashed through the Ardennes region and into France. The Germans swept everything before them. On May 28th, Belgium capitulated after 18 days, but not before causing over 2,000 German casualties in an assault against the Belgian fort of Aubin-le-Château that cost just 6 Belgian lives. Hitler was quick to honor the men of Sturmabteilung Koch. Each of the officers was awarded the Knight's Cross, and all of the other ranks received the Iron Cross except for Private Schmidt. His drunken antics on the guns of Cupola 120 would lose him that honor. In just 6 weeks, Hitler's armies had conquered Holland, Belgium, and France, and expelled the British Expeditionary Force at Dunkirk. This remarkable victory had been made possible by one of the most decisive raids in history, which had been the brainchild of Hitler himself. For the Belgian defenders, everything that could go wrong went wrong. But the destruction of the gun emplacements at Fort Eben Emael was only possible due to the effectiveness of the hollow charge weapons that were used for the first time in warfare. Fort Eben Emael had been the stronghold barring the German advance into Belgium and France. But the paratroopers of Group Granite were able to open the way for one of the greatest victories in military history through the use of new technology and the tactical innovation of assault gliders. Nazi Germany was never again to realize such an overwhelming triumph.